The massive alien ship appeared above Earth without warning. It was bigger than any city, its dark metal hull covered in weapons that could destroy planets. Admiral Taemin stood on the bridge of the ship called Dominion's Will, looking down at the small blue world below. He had done this same thing to hundreds of planets before. Every time, the people living there gave up without a fight. Taemin was tall and covered in green scales. His people, the Saurians, had joined the Galactic Council 50 years ago. Now he helped the Council bring order to the galaxy. That meant making new worlds follow Council rules. It was always easy work. "Send the message," Taemin told his crew. The translation computers would make sure the humans understood every word. On Earth. President Hyo-jin was in her office when the message came through every radio, television, and computer on the planet. She was a small woman with gray hair, but her eyes were sharp and intelligent. She had been waiting for this day for a long time. The alien voice spoke in perfect English. "People of Earth, I am Admiral Taemin of the Galactic Council. Your world must now follow Council law. You have 72 hours to give up all weapons and accept our rule. If you refuse, we will destroy your planet. This is not a request. This is an order." Hyo-jin listened to the message without showing any fear. Around the world, other leaders were doing the same thing. They had all been preparing for this moment. Captain Dongwoo was on Luna Base when the alien ships arrived. He was young for a military officer, but he had trained his whole life for space combat. Through his telescope, he could see 12 huge ships floating above Earth. Each one carried enough firepower to turn the planet into dust. "Sir," his communications officer said, "we're getting reports from all over the system. The aliens have ships near Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn, too. They've completely surrounded us." Dongwoo nodded. This was exactly what Earth's military had expected. "Send word to all hidden bases. Tell them to stay quiet and wait for orders." Dr. Yuna was in her laboratory when the message played. She was one of Earth's top scientists, specializing in alien biology. For 20 years, she had been studying signals from space, learning about the different species in the galaxy. She knew more about alien weaknesses than anyone else on Earth. "They think we're primitive," she said to her assistant. "They see our radio signals and think we're still using simple technology. They have no idea what we've really built." The alien message kept playing around the world. Most people were scared, but the governments stayed calm. They had been planning for this day since humans first detected the Council's expansion pattern through deep space. Commander Beho led the alien landing party that came down to Earth. He was also a Saurian with dark green scales and yellow eyes. He had never met a species that didn't surrender immediately when they saw the Council's power. He landed his shuttle in front of the United Nations building in New York. Hundreds of human soldiers surrounded the area, but they kept their weapons lowered. Beho walked out of his ship expecting to see fear in their faces. Instead, the humans looked curious. President Hyo-jin met him at the building's entrance. She was smaller than he expected, and she didn't seem afraid at all. This was unusual. Most leaders begged for mercy by now. "Welcome to Earth," she said politely. "Would you like some coffee while we discuss your proposal?" Beho was confused. Proposal? This wasn't a negotiation. This was surrender. But he followed her inside anyway. In the meeting room, Hyo-jin sat across from the alien commander. Other world leaders joined them through video calls. The room was quiet, except for the soft hum of computers. "We understand that you represent a powerful empire," Hyo-jin began. "Your ships are impressive, and your weapons are clearly advanced. However, we need time to consider your offer." "This is not an offer," Beho snapped. "This is surrender. Your planet will submit to Council rule, or it will be destroyed." Hyo-jin smiled slightly. "Of course. We understand the consequences. We just need some time to discuss it with our people. Surely 72 hours isn't too much to ask." Beho didn't know what to say. In his experience, primitive species either surrendered immediately or tried to fight with their basic weapons. They never asked for time to think about it. High above Earth's atmosphere, Admiral Taemin was also feeling confused. His sensors showed that humans were moving around their planet, but they weren't acting like a species about to surrender. Their military wasn't panicking. Their leaders weren't trying to evacuate. "Admiral," his intelligence officer said, "we're picking up a lot of communication traffic from Earth. But we can't understand most of it. They're using some kind of encryption we haven't seen before. Taemin frowned. Primitive species didn't usually have advanced encryption. Keep monitoring, and prepare the bombardment systems. If they try anything foolish, we'll show them the price of resistance. What Taemin didn't know was that deep beneath Earth's oceans and mountains, massive machines were waking up. Humans had been building secret weapons for decades, hiding them in places where alien sensors couldn't detect them. General So Young was in one of those hidden bases, 3 miles beneath the Rocky Mountains. She had short black hair and wore a military uniform covered in medals. She had spent her entire career preparing for alien invasion. All teams report ready, her aide told her. The quantum computers are online. The dimensional generators are charging. The stealth fields are holding. So, Young nodded. Good. Tell all base commanders to maintain radio silence. We don't want our guests to know what we're really capable of until it's too late. Engineer Minho was working in another secret facility, this one hidden in Antarctica. He was young but brilliant, and he had helped design humanity's most advanced weapons. Around him, machines that bent the laws of physics hummed quietly as they prepared for war. The pocket dimension generators are stable, he reported. The quantum fleet is ready for deployment. All ships report full combat readiness. These weren't normal spaceships. They were vessels built using technology that the Council had never encountered. Ships that could appear and disappear at will, powered by controlled black holes and armed with weapons that could tear holes in space itself. As the first day ended, Admiral Taemin grew impatient. He had never waited this long for a surrender. Something about this situation felt wrong, but he couldn't figure out what it was. Send another message, he ordered. Tell them they have 48 hours left. But down on Earth, President Hyo-jin was not worried about the deadline. She was looking at reports from all over the solar system. Hidden human bases were coming online. Secret weapons were powering up. The trap was almost ready. How long since we detected their expansion pattern? She asked her military advisor. 37 years, Madam President. We've been preparing ever since. Hyo-jin smiled. The Council thought they were dealing with a primitive species that had just discovered space travel. They had no idea that humans had been watching them for decades, learning their tactics, studying their weaknesses, and preparing for this exact moment. The aliens had given Earth 72 hours to surrender. They thought that was generous. They thought it would give the humans time to accept their fate. They were wrong. The 72 hours weren't for surrender. They were for Earth to finish preparing for war. The second day began with Admiral Taemin feeling more confident. His computers had been listening to human communications all night, and they seemed to show exactly what he expected. The humans were panicking, their governments were arguing, and their military was running around in confusion. Sir, we've decoded more of their transmissions, Intelligence Officer Kyung-soo reported. She was a young officer from a species that looked like blue-skinned humans. Her job was to understand enemy communications. They're definitely scared. Their leaders are fighting about what to do. Taemin nodded with satisfaction. This was normal. Fear always came first, then surrender. Keep monitoring. I want to know the moment they decide to give up. But Kyung-soo was starting to notice something strange. The more she studied the human signals, the more organized they seemed. The panic was happening at exactly the right times. The arguments followed, patterns that seemed planned. She had analyzed hundreds of species before, and this didn't feel like real chaos. On Earth, General So Young was deep underground in her command center. She watched as reports came in from secret bases all over the planet. To alien sensors, it looked like human military units were running around in panic. In reality, every movement was part of a carefully planned dance. Phase 2 is complete, her communications officer reported. All stealth units are in position. The enemy still doesn't detect any of our hidden facilities. So Young smiled. Humans had learned long ago that the best way to win a war was to let your enemy think they were winning until it was too late to change course. Engineer Minho was in his Antarctic base, working on humanity's greatest secret. Around him, massive machines were building something that shouldn't have been possible. The quantum fleet was taking shape in pocket dimensions, spaces that existed between normal reality. Dimensional stability is holding at 99.7%, his assistant reported. We can maintain this for another 60 hours without any problems. Minho checked his instruments. Each ship in the quantum fleet was the size of a city, but they existed in spaces that were smaller than atoms. When the time came, they would fold back into normal space with enough firepower to level entire star systems. Dr. Yu Na was in her laboratory, putting the finishing touches on her special project. For 20 years, she had been studying alien biology using genetic samples collected from crashed ships and intercepted transmissions. She knew exactly how each council species worked, right down to their DNA. The biological agents are ready, she told her team. Each one is designed for a specific alien species. They won't kill them, but they'll make them very sick and unable to fight. Her assistant looked worried. Are you sure this is right? Using biological weapons seems... These aren't weapons, Yuna interrupted. They're medicine. Each agent will make the aliens sick for a few days, then cure diseases they've had for years. We're not trying to hurt them. We're trying to show them that we could hurt them if we wanted to, but we choose not to. Captain Dongwu was still on Luna Base, watching the alien ships through his telescopes. He had been a military officer for 10 years, but he had never seen enemy ships this powerful. Each one could destroy Earth's moon with a single shot. But Dongwu wasn't worried. He had been trained by the best military minds in human history, and they had been preparing for this battle for decades. Earth's real defenses weren't the ships the aliens could see. They were the ones hidden in the shadows. Sir, his communications officer said, we're getting a coded message from Earth Command. All stealth units report ready. The trap is set. Dongwu nodded. Send confirmation. Tell them Luna Base is ready for Phase 3. High above Earth, Admiral Taemin was starting to feel uneasy. His experience told him that humans should have surrendered by now. Most species gave up after seeing the Council fleet. The few that tried to fight were defeated within hours. Admiral, Kyung-soo said, I'm getting some unusual readings from Earth. Their energy output has increased by 300% since yesterday, but I can't figure out where it's coming from. Taemin frowned. Are they powering weapons? I don't think so, sir. The energy signatures don't match any weapons we know. It's almost like they're powering something we can't see. What the aliens couldn't see were the massive shield generators hidden all over Earth. Machines buried so deep that they were invisible to orbital sensors, powered by fusion reactors that had been running in secret for 30 years. Commander. Beiho was still on Earth, staying in a luxury hotel while he waited for the humans to surrender. He had expected to be back on his ship by now, but the humans kept asking for more time to consider their options. He was starting to find the humans very strange. They treated him politely, gave him excellent food, and even provided entertainment. But they didn't seem afraid of him at all. When he tried to intimidate them by describing council weapons, they just nodded politely and asked technical questions. Commander, his aide said, the humans have invited you to tour one of their military bases. They say they want to show you their defensive capabilities so you can report back to the Admiral. Beiho was suspicious, but also curious. No species had ever offered to show him their military secrets before. Very well, but keep our shuttle ready for immediate departure. The tour was unlike anything Beiho had ever experienced. The humans showed him weapons that seemed advanced, but not threatening. Missiles that could reach orbit, laser systems that could shoot down aircraft, computer networks that coordinated global defense. It was impressive for a primitive species, but nothing that could challenge the Council fleet. Beiho began to relax. The humans were just trying to look strong before they surrendered. What he didn't know was that everything he saw was fake. The real human military was hidden so deep that alien sensors couldn't detect it. The weapons he was shown were 40 years old, kept around just to fool visitors like him. Admiral Ji-hoon was in the real military command center, buried 15 miles beneath the Pacific Ocean. He was humanity's greatest military strategist, a man who had studied every war in human history and learned from them all. Phase 3 begins in 6 hours, he told his staff. All quantum communication links are active. All stealth fields are holding. The enemy still has no idea what they're really facing. Around him, holographic displays showed the real state of human military power. Weapons that used laws of physics the Council had never discovered. Ships that could travel faster than light without using hyperspace. defensive systems that could stop planet-killing weapons. Humanity had been preparing for this war since they first detected radio signals from the Council Empire 40 years ago. While the aliens thought Earth was primitive, humans had been building the most advanced military force in the galaxy. As the second day came to an end, Admiral Taemin sent another message to Earth. "You have 24 hours remaining. Surrender now, or face destruction." President Hyo-jin received the message in her office. She looked out the window at the sky, where alien ships hung like dark clouds. Then she turned to her military advisor. "Send word to all commands," she said calmly. "Tomorrow we show them what humanity is really capable of." The advisor smiled. "Yes, Madam President. Should I activate the final phase?" "Not yet. Let's see if they're smart enough to leave peacefully first. But if they want a demonstration of human strength..." She paused and looked back at the sky. "Then we'll give them one they'll never forget." Far above, Admiral Taemin had no idea that he was about to become part of the biggest military surprise in galactic history. He thought he was dealing with a primitive species that would soon kneel before Council power. Tomorrow he would learn that some species don't kneel, some species fight back. The 72 hours were over. Admiral Taemin stood on his command bridge, looking down at Earth with cold anger. In all his years of service, no species had ever refused Council rule for this long. It was time to teach humanity the price of defiance. All ships, prepare for bombardment, he ordered. Target their major cities first. We'll leave enough survivors to serve as examples to other primitive worlds. The Council fleet powered up their weapons. Energy cannons that could melt mountains, plasma bombs that could boil oceans, and gravity weapons that could crack a planet's crust. It was enough firepower to destroy Earth 100 times over. President Hyo-jin sat in her office, watching the alien ships through her window. She looked calm, but her finger was hovering over a red button on her desk. Around the world, other leaders were doing the same thing. "Madam President," her military advisor said, "alien weapons are charging. They'll fire in 60 seconds. Hyo-jin nodded. "Send the message to all commands. Tell them it's time." All over Earth, hidden machines came to life. Deep beneath the oceans, massive generators began converting seawater into pure energy. Underground facilities that had been disguised as earthquake monitoring stations revealed their true purpose as orbital defense platforms. Admiral Taemin gave the order. Fire. The Council fleet unleashed hell. Beams of pure energy screamed toward Earth, carrying enough power to turn the planet's surface into molten glass. Every alien on the fleet expected to see a world die. Instead, something impossible happened. The energy beams struck Earth's atmosphere and simply stopped. Massive shields appeared around the planet, glowing blue barriers that absorbed the alien attack like it was nothing more than sunlight. The weapons that had destroyed hundreds of worlds couldn't even scratch Earth's surface. "Impossible!" Taemin shouted. "No primitive species has shields that powerful." Captain Dongwu watched from Luna Base as Earth's defenses held against the alien bombardment. He had helped design those shields, but seeing them work still amazed him. Humanity had spent 40 years building them, using technology that the Council didn't even know existed. "Sir," his communications officer reported, "Earth Command is asking if we should reveal the lunar defense platforms." Dongwu smiled. "Not yet. Let's see how they react to the first surprise before we show them the second one." Commander Bei-ho was on the surface of Earth when the bombardment began. He expected to die along with the humans, but instead he watched, in shock, as the alien weapons were completely blocked by Earth's shields. The human soldiers around him didn't seem surprised at all. They just checked their equipment and waited for orders. One of them, a young woman named Su-jin, even offered him a bottle of water. "Don't worry," she said kindly. "You're safe here. Our shields can stop anything your ships can throw at us." Bei-ho stared at her. "How? Your species is primitive. You shouldn't have technology like this." Su-jin laughed. "Primitive? We've been traveling between stars for 60 years. We've been watching your empire expand across the galaxy for 40 years. We know more about Council technology than most Council species do." Dr. Yuna was in her laboratory, watching the bombardment on her computer screens. As the alien weapons struck Earth's shields, her computers analyzed every energy signature, every beam frequency, every weapon type. Perfect, she said to her assistant. Now we know exactly how their weapons work. Upload the countermeasures to all our ships. Her assistant looked confused. Ships? What ships? Yuna smiled. You'll see. In about 30 seconds. High above Earth, Admiral Taemin ordered his fleet to increase power. All ships! Maximum bombardment! We'll break through their shields if we have to use every weapon we have! The alien fleet poured more energy into their attack. The space around Earth lit up like a star as dozens of ships fired their most powerful weapons. But Earth's shields held firm, converting the alien energy into power for humanity's own systems. Then something happened that changed everything. The darkness around Earth's moon began to move. What Admiral Taemin had thought was empty space suddenly filled with ships. Human ships that had been invisible until this moment, protected by stealth technology that made them completely undetectable. Captain Dong-Wu stood on the bridge of his flagship, the EAS Defiance. Around him, 200 human ships decloaked at the same time, their hulls gleaming with weapons that had never been seen before. All ships, he broadcast on an open channel that the aliens could hear. This is Captain Dong-Wu of the Earth Defense Force. You have attacked our home. You have threatened our people. That was a mistake. The human ships moved like nothing the Council had ever encountered. They were fast, agile, and deadly. Instead of the crude rockets and chemical weapons the aliens expected, they fired beams of pure energy that cut through Council shields like paper. Admiral Taemin watched in horror as his outer ships began exploding under human fire. How? Where did these ships come from? Our sensors showed empty space. Intelligence Officer Kyung-soo was frantically working at her station. Sir, I'm detecting massive energy signatures throughout the solar system. There are human ships everywhere. Near Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, even hiding behind asteroids. What she was seeing was the result of 40 years of secret construction. Humans had built shipyards in the darkness between planets, using materials mined from asteroids and powered by fusion reactors that produced no detectable emissions. Engineer Minho activated the quantum fleet from his base in Antarctica. All around the solar system, space began to fold and twist as ships larger than cities emerged from pocket dimensions. These weren't normal spacecraft. They were weapons platforms that used controlled black holes for power and could fire weapons that bent reality itself. Each one was more powerful than an entire Council fleet. General So Young coordinated the human response from her underground command center. Phase 4 is now active, she announced. All hidden bases, deploy your platforms. Show them what Earth really is. Across the planet, mountains opened up to reveal missile silos that reached into space. Ocean floors split apart, as submarine bases launched fighters that could operate in both water and vacuum. Even Earth's Arctic ice cracked open to expose weapons that had been hidden beneath frozen wasteland for decades. Dr. Yuna activated her special project. Biological agents designed specifically for each Council species began spreading through the alien fleet. The aliens suddenly found their ship systems failing as microscopic organisms ate through their life support equipment. Don't panic, she broadcast on Council frequencies. You're not going to die. These organisms will make you sick for a few hours. Then they'll start curing genetic diseases your species has suffered from for centuries. This is our gift to you. Commander Beho received reports from the Council fleet that their crews were falling ill. But the reports were strange. The aliens weren't dying. They were getting sick, then getting better than they had ever been before. Diseases that had plagued his people for generations were simply disappearing. What are you doing to us? He demanded of the human soldier Sujin. We're healing you, she replied simply. We could have made biological weapons that would kill your entire species in minutes. Instead, we chose to cure your diseases. That's the difference between your empire and ours. Admiral Ji-hoon's main fleet finally revealed itself from the dark side of Mercury. His ships were works of art, sleek vessels that moved like living creatures through space. They surrounded the Council fleet in perfect formation, weapons pointed, but not firing. Council fleet, Ji-hoon broadcast, you are completely surrounded. Your weapons cannot penetrate our shields. Your ships cannot escape our stealth fields. Your crews are being healed by our medical technology. You have two choices. Surrender and be treated with respect, or continue fighting and be destroyed. Admiral Taemin looked around his bridge. Half his crew was sick but recovering, reporting that they felt better than they had in years. His weapons were useless against human shields. His ships were outnumbered 10-1 by vessels that were clearly superior to anything the Council had built. For the first time in Council history, an enforcement fleet was completely defeated. "This is impossible," he whispered. "We are the masters of the galaxy. We have conquered thousands of worlds." President Hyojin's voice came through on his communication system. "Admiral Tae-min, this is President Hyojin of Earth. Your ships are surrounded and your weapons are useless. But we are not monsters like your council. Surrender now and your crews will be treated with dignity and respect. Continue fighting, and we will show you why Earth never kneels." Tae-min stared at the blue planet below him. Somehow, the humans had turned his moment of triumph into his greatest defeat. And they had done it without killing a single council soldier. What kind of species had such power but chose to show mercy? Admiral Tae-min stared at the display screens showing his fleet's situation. Half his ships were disabled, his crews were recovering from the human biological agents, and he was completely surrounded by vessels that seemed to break every law of physics he knew. But he was still a council admiral. Surrender was not in his vocabulary. "Open emergency communication channels," he ordered his bridge crew. "Send a priority message to Council Central Command. Tell them we need immediate reinforcements." Intelligence Officer Kyung-soo tried to establish contact with the Council homeworlds. She worked frantically at her station, but every attempt failed. "Sir, all quantum communication channels are being blocked. I can't reach anyone outside this solar system." What she didn't know was that engineer Min Ho had spent years developing quantum jammers specifically designed to cut off Council fleets from their support networks. The moment the alien ships had arrived, they had been isolated from the rest of their empire. Captain Dong-woo coordinated the first phase of the human counterattack. His orders were specific. Disable enemy ships, but don't destroy them unless absolutely necessary. Capture as many Council vessels as possible. Beta Squadron, target the enemy support ships, he commanded. Use ion cannons to disable their engines and life support. Gamma Squadron, deploy boarding parties. The human attack was surgical and precise. Instead of trying to destroy the Council ships, they systematically shut down their systems and boarded them. Each captured vessel provided more information about Council technology and tactics. Commander Beho watched from Earth's surface as human soldiers prepared boarding shuttles. The soldier Su-jin was among them, checking her equipment with professional calm. "You're going to board our ships?" he asked in amazement. "Of course," Su-jin replied. "We need to make sure your crews are getting proper medical treatment. Our biological agents are designed to be helpful, but we want to monitor their effects." Beho couldn't understand this. In his experience, victorious armies killed their enemies or enslaved them. They didn't provide medical care and worry about their comfort. Dr. Yuna monitored the biological agents from her laboratory. Reports were coming in from the human boarding parties that the aliens were recovering faster than expected. Not only were they getting over their initial sickness, but chronic diseases were disappearing. "Commander Jae-hoon is reporting from the Saurian Dreadnought," her assistant said. "The alien crew members are experiencing complete genetic repair. Birth defects are correcting themselves, and their lifespans appear to be increasing." Yuna smiled. This had been her real goal. She could have created diseases that would wipe out entire species, but instead she had chosen to heal them. It was humanity's way of showing that they were different from the Council. Engineer Min Ho activated the next phase of humanity's secret weapons. The conversion protocol began working on captured Council ships, analyzing their technology and improving it with human innovations. "Ship 7 has been successfully converted," he reported to General So-young. "Their weapons are now 400% more effective, and their shields are completely immune to Council energy weapons. The crew is reporting that their ship systems are running better than they have in decades." This was perhaps the most shocking part of humanity's strategy. They weren't just capturing alien ships, they were making them better. Council vessels that had been struggling with mechanical problems for years suddenly found their systems running perfectly. Admiral Ji-hoon's main fleet demonstrated tactical skills that should have been impossible. His ships moved in perfect coordination, anticipating Council strategies before they were implemented and countering them with ease. How do they know our battle plans? Admiral Taman demanded. They're responding to orders before I give them. The answer was that humans had been intercepting Council communications for decades. Every battle plan, every tactical manual, every strategic doctrine, all of it was stored in human computers and analyzed by military strategists who had spent their entire careers studying Council warfare. General So Young watched the battle unfold from her command center deep beneath the Rocky Mountains. Her screens showed the systematic dismantling of the Council fleet's coordination and command structure. Communications relay ships are neutralized, her aide reported. Command vessels are disabled. Support networks have collapsed. The enemy fleet is now fighting hundreds of separate engagements instead of one coordinated battle. This was exactly what So Young had planned. By isolating each Council ship from the others, her forces could deal with them one at a time. The aliens found themselves confused and disorganized, while human ships worked together with perfect efficiency. The first Council ship to surrender was a support vessel carrying medical supplies. Its captain, a blue-skinned alien named Woo Hyun, made the decision after his crew reported that the human biological agents had cured a plague that had been killing his people for generations. "Human fleet," he broadcast. "This is Captain Woo Hyun of the Council medical ship Hope's Light. We surrender. We request permission to speak with your doctors about the treatment you have given us." Captain Dong Woo responded personally. "Captain Woo Hyun, your surrender is accepted. Medical teams are being dispatched to your ship to ensure your crew's health and safety. You will be treated with honor and respect." This was another shock to the Council forces. Surrender was usually followed by imprisonment or execution. The humans were offering medical care and promising honorable treatment. More Council ships began surrendering as their crews realized that the humans weren't interested in conquest or revenge. They genuinely seemed to want to help the aliens, even after being attacked. Dr. Yuna received permission to board one of the surrendered vessels. She wanted to personally monitor the effects of her biological agents and ensure that they were working properly. The alien crew she met were amazed by their condition. Many of them reported feeling healthier than they had in years. Genetic disorders that had plagued their families for generations had simply vanished. "Why did you help us?" asked the ship's doctor, a reptilian alien with green scales. "We came here to conquer your world. We threatened to destroy your people. Why did you choose to heal us instead of killing us?" Yuna thought about the question carefully. "Because that's who we are. Humans believe that strength comes from helping others, not from hurting them. We could have destroyed your entire species, but we chose to cure your diseases instead. That's the difference between your empire and our civilization." Commander Beho was brought aboard a human ship to witness the treatment of captured Council soldiers. He expected to see prisoners in chains, but instead found aliens receiving medical care and being treated with courtesy. A human medical officer named Dr. Kyung Ho was treating a Saurian soldier who had been injured when his ship was disabled. The alien was receiving the same quality of care that humans would give to their own wounded. "This makes no sense," Beho said to Dr. Kyung Ho. "We are your enemies. Why are you helping us?" "Because you're hurt," the doctor replied simply. "I took an oath to heal the sick and injured, regardless of who they are. Your political leaders may be our enemies, but you're just soldiers following orders. You deserve medical care and basic dignity." Engineer Minho's conversion program was yielding incredible results. Council ships that had been operating at 60% efficiency for years were suddenly running at 150% capacity. Weapons that had been unreliable were now perfectly calibrated. Life support systems that had been struggling to maintain basic conditions were now providing luxury-level comfort. The aliens are reporting that their ships have never run this well, his assistant told him. Some of them are asking if they can defect to Earth just to keep the improvements. This was humanity's masterstroke. They weren't just defeating the Council fleet. They were demonstrating that human technology could make Council technology better. They were proving that cooperation was more beneficial than conquest. Admiral Tae Min watched as ship after ship in his fleet either surrendered or was captured. His mighty enforcement fleet, which had conquered hundreds of worlds, was being systematically dismantled by a species the Council had considered primitive. But the most shocking part wasn't the defeat, it was the mercy. Humans could have destroyed every ship in his fleet, but instead they were healing his crews and improving their technology. They were demonstrating a kind of power that the Council had never encountered before. Admiral Kyung-soo reported, "We're receiving a transmission from the human command ship. They are requesting a personal meeting with you." Taemin looked around his bridge. He had no weapons that could hurt the humans, no way to contact reinforcements, and no hope of victory. But he was still curious about this strange species that chose healing over destruction. "Tell them I'll listen to what they have to say," he replied. The message that came back surprised him. "Admiral Taemin, this is Admiral Ji-hoon of the Earth Defense Force. I respect your courage and your dedication to your people. Would you do me the honor of joining me for dinner? I believe we have much to discuss about the future of both our civilizations." Admiral Taemin stepped aboard the human flagship with a feeling he had never experienced before in his military career: uncertainty. The ship's corridors were clean and well lit, but what struck him most was how the human crew treated him. They were respectful, but not fearful, professional, but not hostile. Admiral Ji-hoon met him in what appeared to be a formal dining room. The human was shorter than Taemin, but carried himself with the confidence of someone who had never lost a battle. On the table between them was food from both Earth and several Council worlds. "Admiral Taemin," Ji-hoon said, standing to greet his guest. "Thank you for accepting my invitation. Please sit. I believe we have much to discuss." Taemin sat cautiously. "You could have destroyed my fleet completely. Why didn't you?" Ji-hoon poured tea for both of them. "Because destroying your fleet wouldn't accomplish our goals. We don't want to rule the galaxy through fear, Admiral. We want to change it through example." Before Taemin could respond, alarms began sounding on both ships. A new voice crackled over the communication systems. It was coming from the edge of the solar system. "This is Council Supreme Admiral Dong-hyun, aboard the dreadnought Eternal Dominion," the voice announced. "Admiral Taemin, report your status, immediately. We are prepared to assist with planetary bombardment." Admiral Ji-hoon calmly activated his ship's communications. "Supreme Admiral Dong-hyun, this is Admiral Ji-hoon of Earth. Admiral Taemin is currently my guest. Before you take any aggressive action, I suggest you observe the current situation." On the view screen, the Council's relief fleet dropped out of hyperspace. 50 ships, each larger than anything in Taemin's original force, armed with the most powerful weapons the Council possessed. At their head was the Eternal Dominion, a ship capable of destroying entire star systems. Supreme Admiral Dong-hyun was the Council's most feared military commander. His reputation for ruthless efficiency was known throughout the galaxy. He had personally overseen the destruction of 3 species that had refused to submit to Council rule. "Admiral Taemin," Dong-hyun's voice continued, "your fleet appears to be compromised. We are prepared to finish your mission and sterilize this system completely." President Hyo-jin watched the new arrivals from her office on Earth. She had been expecting this. The Council always sent reinforcements when their initial fleets encountered problems. She activated her communication system. "Supreme Admiral Dong-hyun, this is President Hyo-jin of Earth. Your fellow admiral is currently dining with our military commander and discussing the future of Council-Earth relations. Your people are being treated with dignity and respect. However, if you attack our system, the situation will change dramatically." Dong-hyun's response was immediate and cold. "Primitive creature, you will release Admiral Taemin immediately and surrender your planet to Council authority. You have 10 minutes to comply, or we will demonstrate why the Council rules the galaxy." Dr. Yu-na was monitoring the conversation from her laboratory. She had been preparing for this moment, a second Council fleet arriving with even more advanced weapons and stronger shields. Her computers were already analyzing their ships, looking for weaknesses. "Interesting," she said to her assistant. "Their ships are using biological components in their shield generators, living tissue that adapts to different weapons. Very clever, but it gives us opportunities." Engineer Minho received new orders from General So-young. The arrival of reinforcements meant it was time to reveal humanity's ultimate deterrent. He activated systems that had been hidden even from Earth's own military until this moment. "Activating the Starfire network," he announced. "All deep space platforms report ready. Quantum torpedoes are armed and targeting enemy homeworlds." What Admiral Dong-hyun didn't know was that humanity's preparation for this war had extended far beyond Earth's solar system. For 30 years, human ships had been placing weapons throughout Council space, hidden near every major population center. Captain Dong-Wu prepared his stealth fleet for the most dangerous mission in human history. His ships would have to get close to the Council reinforcements without being detected, then strike before the aliens could react. "All ships, prepare for quantum jump," he commanded. "Remember, our goal is to disable their weapons and capture their command ship. No unnecessary casualties." The human ships vanished from normal space, reappearing inside the Council formation before the aliens could react. But this time was different. The new Council fleet was ready for stealth attacks, and their weapons were more advanced. The space battle that followed was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Council ships with adaptive shields faced human vessels with reality-bending weapons. Energy beams that could cut through planets met barriers that existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously. Admiral Ji-hoon watched the battle from his flagship, while Admiral Tae-min sat beside him in shock. The human admiral calmly directed his forces while explaining his strategy to his guest. "Your Supreme Admiral is very skilled," Ji-hoon said, as he ordered his ships to change formation. "His tactics are aggressive and well-coordinated, but he's fighting yesterday's war with yesterday's technology." Tae-min watched as human ships moved in ways that seemed to violate physics. They appeared and disappeared at will, fired weapons that bent space itself, and coordinated their attacks with perfect precision. "How is this possible?" he whispered. "Your species has only been in space for a few decades." "That's what your council believes," Ji-hoon replied. "The truth is more complicated. We've been studying your empire for 40 years, Admiral. We know your technology better than you do." Dr. Yuna deployed her ultimate biological weapon against the new council fleet. But instead of making them sick, this agent did something far more shocking. It began repairing their genetic damage and enhancing their natural abilities. Supreme Admiral Dong-hyun's crew began reporting impossible improvements in their health and performance. Genetic disorders that had limited their species for millennia were disappearing. Mental capacity was increasing. Physical strength was improving. "What are the humans doing to us?" Dong-hyun demanded. Commander Beho, still on Earth's surface, answered through the communication link. "They're making us better. They could destroy us completely, but instead they're healing us and improving us. I've never seen anything like it." The tide of battle turned when Engineer Minho activated the Starfire network. All across Council space, hidden human weapons powered up near major alien worlds, not to attack them, but to protect them from the energy backlash that would result if the battle continued. President Hyo-jin sent a message that reached every ship in both fleets, as well as every Council world simultaneously. "Citizens of the Council Empire," her voice echoed across the galaxy. "Your leaders told you that primitive species must kneel before your power. Today you see the truth. Earth does not kneel, but neither do we conquer. We offer something your empire has never experienced: partnership between equals." The message included detailed scans of human weapons positioned throughout Council space, enough firepower to destroy every major alien world, but configured to protect them instead of attacking them. "We could have ended your civilization years ago," Hyo-jin continued. "We chose not to. We could end it today. We choose not to. The question is, will you continue to choose conquest, or will you choose cooperation?" Supreme Admiral Dong-hyun found himself in an impossible position. His fleet was outmatched by technology he didn't understand. His crews were being improved by biological agents that defied explanation. And most shocking of all, the humans had demonstrated that they could have destroyed the Council Empire at any time but had chosen mercy instead. "This is impossible," he said to his bridge crew. "No species has ever had this kind of power and chosen not to use it." Admiral Taemin's voice came through the communication link. "Supreme Admiral, I recommend that you accept the human invitation to negotiate. These people are not like any species we have encountered before. They have the power to destroy us, but they choose to heal us instead. Perhaps it's time we learned from them." The battle stopped as both admirals considered options that had never existed before in galactic history. For the first time, a Council enforcement action had encountered not just resistance, but genuine alternative to their empire's philosophy. General So-young watched from her command center as reports came in from across the galaxy. Human agents were revealing themselves on dozens of Council worlds, not as conquerors, but as teachers and healers. The war for Earth's freedom was about to become something far larger, a revolution that would change the entire galaxy. Phase 6 is ready for activation, her aide reported. All human colonies report prepared for emergence. So Young smiled. The Council was about to discover that Earth wasn't humanity's only world. They had been building a secret civilization for decades, and it was time to reveal it to the galaxy. Supreme Admiral Dong Hyun stared at the tactical display on his bridge. His massive fleet, which had never failed to conquer a world, was surrounded by human ships that seemed to bend the laws of physics. Worse, his own crews were reporting that they felt better than they had in years, thanks to human biological agents. "Admiral," his communications officer reported, "we're receiving a transmission from Earth. The human president wants to speak with you directly." Dong Hyun had spent his entire career crushing primitive species. He had never negotiated with any of them before. But this situation was unlike anything in Council history. "Put her through," he said reluctantly. President Hyo-jin appeared on the main screen. Behind her, holographic displays showed detailed maps of Council space with thousands of markers indicating human presence. "Supreme Admiral Dong Hyun," she began, "thank you for taking my call. I want to show you something that will change how you think about this war." The displays behind her zoomed in on individual star systems. What they showed made Dong Hyun's blood run cold. Human colonies on worlds the Council thought were uninhabited. Human research stations in systems the Council had never explored. Human observation posts near every major Council world. "This is impossible," Dong Hyun whispered. "Our surveys showed those systems were empty." "Your surveys only detected technology similar to your own," Hyo-jin explained. "Our stealth capabilities are far more advanced than anything in your databases. Supreme Admiral, humanity has been living in your empire for 40 years. We know your worlds better than you do." Engineer Min Ho activated the final phase of humanity's revelation. Across the galaxy, stealth fields dropped around human settlements. Entire cities became visible on worlds the Council had never bothered to survey properly. Mining operations revealed themselves in asteroid belts. Research stations emerged from hiding in the empty space between stars. Dr. Yuna's voice joined the conversation. "Supreme Admiral, we've been studying every species in your empire for decades. We know your biology, your psychology, your culture, and your history. We know about the genetic diseases that have plagued your people for generations. We know about the technological problems your empire has been unable to solve." Admiral Tae-min, still dining with Admiral Ji-hoon on the human flagship, watched the revelations with amazement. "How many humans are there?" he asked. "More than you would believe," Ji-hoon replied. "Earth was never our only world, Admiral. We've been building colonies throughout the galaxy since we first detected Council expansion. We've been preparing for this moment for 40 years. Captain Dongwoo's stealth fleet revealed its true size as more ships decloaked throughout the solar system. What the Council had thought was a small defensive force was actually a massive military presence that extended throughout local space. We never wanted to fight you," Dongwoo broadcast to the Council fleet. "We wanted to understand you, to learn from you, and eventually to meet you as equals. Your empire forced this confrontation by demanding our surrender." Commander Baeho, still on Earth's surface, was taken to one of humanity's true cities. What he saw there changed his understanding of everything he thought he knew about primitive species. The city was a masterpiece of technology and design. Buildings that reached into the clouds, transportation systems that moved people instantly across vast distances, and most impressive of all, citizens from dozens of different species living together in harmony. "These are people from Council worlds," the human soldier Sujin explained as they walked through the diverse crowds. "They came to us seeking better lives, and we welcomed them. Your empire rules through fear, but our civilization grows through invitation." Baeho saw saurians, like himself, working alongside humans and aliens he didn't even recognize. They seemed healthy, happy, and free in ways that citizens of the Council Empire never experienced. General So Young coordinated the emergence of humanity's true civilization. Reports flowed in from across the galaxy as human colonies revealed themselves to local Council authorities. "Colony Sigma-7 reports successful contact with local Council officials," her aide announced. The regional governor is requesting medical assistance for a plague that's been affecting his population. Colony Delta 12 reports that they've been invited to establish formal diplomatic relations with the local council sector command. Colony Theta 3 reports that local council citizens are requesting asylum in human territory. The pattern was repeating everywhere. As humans revealed themselves, council citizens were discovering that these supposed primitives had solutions to problems the Empire had struggled with for centuries. Dr. Yuna transmitted a comprehensive medical database to every council world simultaneously. Genetic therapies that could cure hereditary diseases, medical technologies that could extend lifespans, and treatments for conditions that council medicine had never been able to address. "This is our gift to your people," she announced. "Not as conquerors, but as neighbors. We could have used this knowledge to create weapons against you, but we chose to create cures for you instead." Supreme Admiral Dong Hyun found himself facing a decision that no council commander had ever confronted. He could continue fighting, but his fleet was clearly outmatched. He could retreat, but that would mean abandoning Admiral Tae-min and admitting defeat. Or he could do something unprecedented. He could listen to what the humans had to say. "What do you want from us?" he finally asked President Hyojin. "Nothing," she replied simply. "We don't want your worlds, your resources, or your submission. We want partnership. We want to share knowledge and technology. We want to explore the galaxy together as equals." Engineer Minho transmitted the specifications for advanced human technology to both council fleets. Fusion reactors that were safer and more efficient than anything the council used. Faster-than-light communication systems that worked without the quantum relays the Empire depended on. Shield generators that could protect entire planets from natural disasters. "This technology is freely given," he announced. "No payment required, no submission demanded. Use it to make your people's lives better." Admiral Ji-hoon stood up from the dining table and walked to the view screen. "Admiral Tae-min, Admiral Dong-hyun, you have a choice to make. You can continue trying to enforce council rule through violence, or you can help us build something better." "What exactly are you proposing?" Tae-min asked. "An alliance," Ji-hoon replied. "Not council domination or human conquest, but genuine cooperation between equal civilizations. Species joining together by choice, not force. Technology shared freely, not hoarded by the powerful. A galaxy where every world has the freedom to choose its own destiny." Dr. Yuna added her voice to the proposal. "Your empire has impressive medical technology, but it's focused on treating symptoms rather than curing diseases. Our approach focuses on prevention and genetic repair. Together, we could eliminate suffering from entire populations." Captain Dongwu offered military cooperation. "Your tactics are excellent, but your technology is limited by your understanding of physics. Our science has discovered principles that could revolutionize space travel and defense. Imagine fleets that could explore distant galaxies or defend against threats you haven't even discovered yet." Commander Beho, speaking from Earth's surface, added his own perspective. "Supreme Admiral, I've seen their cities. I've met their people. They have citizens from dozens of species living together freely and happily. Their technology doesn't just make life easier, it makes life better." The moment of decision arrived when President Hyojin made her final offer. "Supreme Admiral Dong-hyun, Admiral Tae-min, we're offering you and your crews the choice to join us, not as subjects or prisoners, but as partners. Your ships will be upgraded with our technology. Your crews will receive medical treatment that will extend their lives and eliminate genetic disorders. Your people will have access to colonies and opportunities throughout human space. And if we refuse," Dong-hyun asked, "then you're free to leave," Hyojin replied. "We won't stop you. We won't pursue you. We won't seek revenge. But understand that your empire's expansion has ended. Humanity will defend any species that requests our protection, and we have the technology to make that defense absolute." Admiral Tae-min was the first to make his choice. He stood up at the dining table and faced Admiral Ji-hoon. "I have spent my entire career enforcing council rule through fear and violence," he said quietly. "I have destroyed worlds and enslaved populations, but I have never seen anything like what your people have built. If you'll have me, I would like to learn how to protect rather than conquer." Admiral Ji-hoon extended his hand in the human gesture of greeting. "Welcome to the Alliance, Admiral Tae-min. Your experience and knowledge will help us build a better galaxy." Supreme Admiral Dong Hyun watched this exchange through the view screen. His greatest subordinate had just joined humanity's cause. His own fleet was reporting that their upgraded systems were running better than ever before. And throughout Council space, human colonies were offering aid and friendship to populations that had never known freedom. "What guarantee do I have that humanity won't become just another empire?" he asked. General So Young answered that question. "The same guarantee your people have. If we ever become oppressors, you'll have the technology and knowledge to stop us." They